Bobo. Hello everybody, this is Edward18. I'm going to get started on working on part of a comic page today. And for these first few minutes I will be getting set up, so I won't be doing anything for these first few minutes. But if you hang around, or I guess skip forward in the timeline bar after the stream is made into a video after this is done, you will be seeing me work. And obviously, if you're here, can interact and leave messages that I can respond to. But for right now, I'm just getting things set up, so hang on for a couple of minutes. Enjoy this fabulous tune that's playing. Okay. I think we're all set up and ready to go. So I will just get back on over to here. Oh, hello, Wiggle Boy. Sorry I wasn't talking, I was busy getting things set up here. I am doing okay-ish today. How are you? Oh, and congratulations on your Daily Motion account. That sounds like a very big step up. Yeah, for us here today, all we're doing is working on the latest comic page, which I should lower the opacity, bring the background in, and then we can see where we are going to be, painting. I say painting, it doesn't really feel like actual painting because it's digital. But you people know what I mean. Coloring in the blacks here. So, happy getting towards Halloween, and I guess towards my birthday, which is the 25th of October. And for anyone new here, until the 25th, I am having a sale on the commissions that I do. So if anyone would like anything created for them, feel free to stop by the prices and see what you want. At the moment, though, I'm just making my stuff. The ongoing saga and story of Doko Rapilzo. A very oddly named boy, but I always come up with very oddly named things. My dad would always talk about how my stuff sounds like things that are not real. Like, Hemo Japlin was a name that he liked that I made up when I was little. It probably comes from reading the old Steve Ditko Spider-Mans or something when I was younger. Yeah, Doko, I'm not quite sure. I think I just came up with his name like how I come up with the majority of names, which is I just kept saying, like, things in my head until I came across something that sounded good to me. Yeah, for Tesley, it's, Tesley is just a nickname for Tesla. Mech is just repeating the word mech 2 times for her name. And then Stacy is like the only one that has a real name. I assume that Kala is a real name, but I don't hear it often enough. Yeah, a lot of the stuff is just whatever I think sounds cool rolling off the tongue at the time I make it up. Yeah, for Doko, I assume... I don't know, but I assume maybe it might have been, like, it sounded like Goku, so Goku, Doko, the same syllables and sort of harshness to the middle of the word sounds. Ooh, oh, that type of thing. Well, we got the eraser too gigantic, so I will lower that a bit. And my brother's supposed to be visiting for my birthday, but I haven't heard word from him for the past week or so, so I don't know how that's going. It doesn't make too much difference to me. I can still celebrate things without him. I was thinking of maybe doing a stream on the birthday, but so far, I don't know how things are going to go for the birthday, so not really any insight into that yet. I am tired. Yeah, I woke up too early today. Just been spending the last days working on commissions and trying to find a job. A lot of the, I guess, not worry, but annoyance from that, I guess, is sort of waking me up and stuff in the night. But as long as I can still create, that is the main thing. All other stuff is pretty much just a distraction from that. If I have things that I'm working on that are not my creations, that is pretty much just an obstacle for me to overcome so that I can get back to working on what actually matters. But at least I'm not in a factory right now. Such insightful commentary with this humming along to the music. Part of it is just that I'm still kind of just tired and always in a state of perma-sleep. I work too much on everything, so I am always partly asleep while standing up. But if I don't work, nothing's gonna get done. Yeah, you gotta sacrifice to get the big chunks of progress made in your stuff. At least for me. Yeah, vacation, do not know the meaning of the word. Alright, gotta put in the blacks and the stands back here so the characters are not just standing in front of a white background. Well, I'm glad I got those Resident Evil Let's Plays out of the way earlier this month. Not really sure if I would have had time to... Not really sure if I'm going to have time to do Let's Plays, really, from now on, with how much I'm gonna have to be focusing on, like, the economic side of things. But at least we had a good old October marathon for the gaming portion of the channel. Actually, this guy should have arms here, so I am going to give him just solid black arms. Easier than going in and clone stamping in some colored arms after it's been put down physically. Baba. I did check the sketchbook, and it looks like there's only about... Well, I say only, it's still quite a while, but like 10 or 11 pages left of the fight, I think. It is ridiculous that it's gone on for this long, but the end is in sight, finally. So I guess page 94 or 95 is what the fight will be ending on. And then there's, like, more pages afterwards to deal with the ending, but it looks like... I'm not sure if we'll finish the comic this year at the rate I've been going, but we should get towards the end of it. I imagine we will finish it by the end of the year, but who can tell with how the future might go. Got some samurai-looking guys up here. Well, a samurai guy and a robo guy of some sort. I remember I've seen, like, the Wizard of Oz characters in the crowd in one of the tournaments in Dragon Ball before. Toriyama always just liked to throw in wacky designs and stuff. Made a lot of references earlier on to other things. Like, Red Ribbon is sort of referencing James Bond stuff. Major Metallitron is like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator. Stuff like that. Jackie Chun, Jackie Chun, Jackie Chan, obviously. Which is, I believe Toriyama has said that he watched Jackie Chan films while, like, for inspiration for Dragon Ball. Like, didn't watch it for inspiration, it's just he'd seen those films throughout his life, and that is part of what inspired Dragon Ball. Yawn. And then I'm going to try to see about if I can make a picture for my birthday. Because I always like to do that, but at the same time, I always have to cram it in with a Halloween picture right after if I want to do it. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to do both, or either, but I'm going to see about doing a picture for the birthday at least. Which, if anyone wants to celebrate, come on down to the Discord. The link for that should be in the description. It is always nice to see people hanging out on there. Yeah, I imagine if nothing else, I will be on the Discord on the birthday for however much time I am, because obviously there will be real-life stuff that I do on my birthday. But I'll be sure to stop in on the Discord at least. Got a little animal nose person up here. Kinda just throwing the animal nose onto whatever characters are in the stands, like, at random, to give more variety of the character designs in the background. Yeah, the earth that, the world that Doko lives on has a mixture of animal people and, like, normal people and mechanical people and monster people. It's just a big mixing pot of all sorts of characters. Back during our time period, there were monster people, but they were more hidden and stuff. But by this point in the timeline, pretty much anything's become normal for, like, the inhabitants of society. So no one's really hiding about or anything during the comic time period. Most of the vampires live on their own island, though. Yeah, the island of the vampires has only, like, been shown in any capacity, like, on one page of the entire comic series so far. And the characters should end up going to it at some point, though. There's also mummies and stuff. They don't live on that island, though. I am so tired. I do apologize if I am making anyone yawn with my yawning. I don't normally stream this early, but I'm also usually not this tired this early. Right now, it is 11 o'clock in the morning. I should not be this tired. But my schedule is always full of me making stuff. That obviously leads to some waning on the human body after a while. Alright, we got another animal-nosed person over here. I was thinking about going into Resident Evil Code Veronica for the Let's Plays, but there's pretty much no time in the month now to continue the Halloween Let's Plays with everything I'm doing for the end of this month. Let us find another thing to play on here. Oh, we have an ad for Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong for the first time ever. Yeah, that looks like a standard DC comic. I don't care. Here we go, what I actually came to this video for, some more music. Alright, that should be good. Alright, back into the comic. This is another video game I would like to let's play, but again, no real time to do so. Iconoclasts is what this music is from. I always love Konjak's work. I think I first heard of Konjak from like Noitu Love 2 back when I think Cloud8745 played the game. Pretty sure he played the game. It's kinda hard to keep track of what all he did and did not play at this point with how a lot of his videos are gone now. But I still have some saved at least. Yes, the Edward preservation efforts go back quite a ways. The goal is to keep everything I can from disappearing forever from the internet. Which is an impossible task, but trying to do it for the things that have interest to me. Pretty sure I'm like if there's anyone in the world that has like the most Doug TenNapel videos, I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, you come to Edward for certain things that have disappeared from the internet. Kind of a toss-up what you'll get, but there are things I know that I have that you can no longer find in some places. Yeah, Iconoclast is a very interesting game story-wise. Very obvious implications of what has led up to that point in their universe. But things that make you think a bit. Oh, well, okay, Wiggle Boy or Jacob Wiggle. I do hope you have a good day out there. We'll just be working on the comic here. I stopped in at Starbucks yesterday to get something on the way back home. Very crowded. It took about, I'd say 20 minutes to get a Frappuccino. I rarely ever go into Starbucks, but it felt like I hadn't had them in long enough that I may as well try them again. I got the pumpkin spice one. Pumpkin is always one of my favorite flavors, I assume due to being born in the season it's celebrated on. which makes no sense, but I like to think it has a factor in it. Fall is certainly my favorite time of year. Yeah, I can never stand the heat of summer. I can survive it, but I don't like it. And I do prefer the cold over the heat. Like, if I have an option of temperature, I will go to 32 degrees instead of, like, 80. Just don't care for the snow and ice on the roads. On the grass and sidewalk, it's fine, but for driving, no thank you. Yeah, the coldest I have ever been, I think, is below 50 degrees. Walking out there with triple socks on to stay warm. Yeah, every time I would shut my eyes and then, like, every time I would blink, I would have to, like, use my fingers to open my eyes back up because the eyelashes would freeze shut every time. It was, very lethal temperatures outside that day. Thankfully, it didn't last for more than a day, but it did destroy everybody's cars in town with the temperature. Yeah, my brain is not working as fast as it does many days with the tiredness being applied to it. Cannot rest, gotta work, gotta create. It would be great if I just had a body that did not adhere to everything we humans have to go through in order to function. Just keep creating non-stop. That would also take out the need of having to buy groceries. Yeah, if I were more considerate, I probably would not have streamed at all with how much I'm yawning. It is, I'm sure, not the best thing to listen to while Edward works. As well as the constant singing, humming along to the music. Yawn, 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 yawn. For anyone that is watching this, I should probably show something of interest to keep the interest of the video with this stellar audio that is on display. So, oh, well, we're freezing. Okay, and we're not freezing now. What I am going to do... Let me see here. Here we go. Get out of this. Thank you. There we go. Okay, what I can do is I can show a little thing that I made years and years ago. This here is... Can I get it bigger? This is a sprite that I made for my old Project Shadow fan game idea. This is obviously Maria Robotnik. It's the only, like, animation I properly ever got going on one of the characters. That is, you were going to be able to play as her throughout, like, the first, I think, chapter of the game. And as the game progressed, you would see her get taller and taller if you paid attention, because it takes place over a number of years. But that is just one of the various projects I never have time to work on. But it's one I always like to go back and look at. Now let's get all this back to being the size it was. That still did not cure the yawning, but it at least gave us something to look at that hopefully retains some interest with the viewers. Let's find some different music. Here we go. And going along with Sonic, naturally we have to put in some Sonic music. Yeah, the old Shadow the Hedgehog fan game that I had in mind would have gone over things that took place like 50 years before Sonic starts. Sonic always did have a lot more interest to me when it came to, like, the story than with something like Mario. You'd have been able to play as about 5 or 6 different characters, I think, if I remember correctly. Would have started out with Maria, but then you'd, like, have the gun commander as a kid also. And, you'd have, like, a researcher for Project Shadow you'd get to play as, an animal person operative of Gun that becomes a Project Shadow security officer, and Professor Pickle as a young man, or a younger man, since Ark was, like, home to various different scientific minds. The whole story would be, like, the other projects on Ark would slowly, like, evaporate as more focus was placed onto Gerald's project. I put quite a bit of thought into the story of it, and I've got notes on it somewhere. Maria, I think, you'd be able to play as her in, like, the first chapter, and I think also later on. There'd be, like, a mode that would allow you to play as anyone that you'd unlocked in the story as just, like, being able to roam around Ark on your own. And since most of it takes place before the Gizoid attack, a lot of Ark looks more residential and more accommodating towards everyday life than how it's shown in the games themselves. Because it seems like Ark has been in, like, if nothing else, disrepair by the time the games happened. And then the Gizoid did, like, destroy a lot of stuff there. But yeah, you'd also get to play as the Gizoid, or Emerald, before it's called Emerald. Yeah, there'd be a lot of stuff that you'd get to do. I looked over pretty much everything in the games, like map-wise of Ark, and tried to piece together timelines and stuff for when events would take place. It would have been a massive endeavor as a fan type thing. I guess I can see if I can find Project Shadow. Let me see here. Huh. What is this? Well, this is mine. What? No. Get off of that. This is very odd. It looked like, someone had taken one of my pieces and put it on another... Oh, yeah. No, yeah, someone definitely took one of my things and put it on another website, it looks like. Let me see here. Not that, not that. Sorry about this interruption, just finding things that are a bit surprising to me right now. Obviously, I can't just... Well, I could switch over and show things, but that would interrupt the flow of things if I were to do that. Okay, not that. This. Okay, there. Alright, this is what I was trying to get to. Is, Oh. Close out all that so we can actually see this. Yeah, this was sort of a mock-up of how things would be in the game. I was trying to make it look like Sonic Advance, kind of, and pretty much keeping the whole setup for the HUD and everything, but putting in, like, lives for the made-up characters and stuff, and yeah, obviously I made different backgrounds and everything. Have, like, the, this is sort of, like, what is behind the glass in, like, the crazy gadget hallways. I imagined it as sort of like what keeps the gravity in check, and then, like, when parts of the walls are blown away by the Gizoid during its rampage, it, like, reveals more of the inner workings behind the walls and everything. This was part of, like, the core of Ark that I never got finished. This is a nice little, just trying to get a look for Ark, the background of it, and fade it away into the blackness of space in the more distant areas. Oh, and there's Maria's run or sort of walk cycle, the rough draft version of it. I also animated her running, but I've never gotten around to, like, properly detailing that. Then this would be kind of the first boss, which is the gun commander as a kid in a beetle he's modified. Yeah, everything, like, technology-wise, it feels like everything in Sonic's world sort of got advanced from Ark and, like, what Gerald and them were doing back then. It feels like Gun inherited all of that for their robots, so it makes sense to have that kind of technology there in that time period. And given that in the flashbacks and Shadow you also see that stuff there. This was supposed to be like the president of Ark, which is, that was based on Tom Kalinske, I think, was the first American president for Sega, and then his replacement after, like, he'd get replaced later with a president that looks like Bernie Stolar, for obvious reasons, the change in Sega, like, presidents. Yeah, this is just the various things that I made for the Project Shadow fan game idea. That would have been like a BioLizard attempt that the gun commander as a kid gets trapped in a disposal sequence with and has to survive to get out of there. There's that little space train that's flying around mad space and stuff. That'd be used as, like, a transportation system. Like, there'd be stations that you could get on the train at parts to just take you to different areas of Ark so you don't have to run all the way to all the areas. And then here's various characters. There's Shadow would be an unlockable character for, like, the final few chapters. There's the height difference in Maria, like, with time passage. There's the animal security guy that was a gun operative. There's the researcher guy, and there's the Professor Pickle design that I made up. And obviously I just took General from Battle, and I modified Sonic from Advance to look like Shadow. Put aspects of his battle design in there. Wanted to get the springs looking more like they are in Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, and there's Gerald, and all of these chaos energy type things. Yeah, there's a ton of work that I put into it. I just never have time to work on it anymore, as with most things I do. But for things I can work on, I should probably get back to working on this. Yeah, rest assured that no matter what Edward makes, it probably has too much thought put into it. Put into the story and the details and everything. So, if you come across something I've made, just know that 99% of the time, I have put, like, 110% effort into it. If it's, like, a serious project I've tried to do. There's just not enough time in a human lifespan to work on everything that I want to do, so unfortunately certain things get left by the wayside as time goes on. But hopefully at some point I have enough time and resources to be able to get as much stuff done as my lifespan will allow. Yeah, I do love old Sonic. Sonic's not as good these days to me, though Forces does give a surprising amount of effort to its story when compared to pretty much anything since 06. 06 isn't the worst thing story-wise, but it really does not compare to the games before it. Then after Unleashed, they don't even try with the story. And they certainly don't try with, like, keeping the continuity of the lore. Like, it's there, but it's not really much of a thought to them. It doesn't feel like after Unleashed. Until Forces. Then Forces just makes the characters very odd at times, but story-wise, it's nice to have a focus on the lore again. I could go on and on about the lore for these comics, but that would be considered spoilers, and I'm not going to do that. I do want people to be able to sort of figure things out on their own without me telling everything. Although I'm sure that I give more information than I should at times during these videos. And if I can't get these comics done by the time my life ends, I will tell things so that there is closure and understanding of things. Not really sure how the series would be handled after I'm gone if it doesn't finish, but there are things I try to get in place for if that scenario should happen. But I should be able to get it all done, I'd imagine. Just gotta stick around a few decades to see. Say a few, probably a number of decades. Definitely a number of decades for everything I have planned for this universe. All the Xeno Hunter adventures, Lester, Gearwick, Capper, TV, Demons. All sorts of crazy, crazy stuff. Technically, the lore would go back to, like, technically before the beginning of time, but we don't ever really get to see/hear much in the way of that. There's more of just implications from that era, if they pop up. And with Doko here, we obviously have quite a ways to go when it comes to the filling in of the blacks on this page. Any page with Doko is a time-consuming page for the stylus. Drawing him's just as easy as any other character. It's just the filling in the blacks on the computer that takes forever. And we do have the Claw here to fill in his pants. That's pretty much the only thing to fill in on the Claw when it comes to the blacks. There's also his eyes, but that's like just 2 dots. Yeah, I would love to make all sorts of video games. I always look on people like Konjac and Pixel with envy and how they can get all of their little indie stuff made all the time. It takes years, but that is quite a speed to go at for, like, one-person projects for the size of the projects they take on. Let's see, what are all the things? What are all the games I'd want to do? I want to do Xenohunter, obviously. That's like the main one I've put stuff up of. There's the survival horror series I want to do, Final Evolution. There's Capper's stuff with the TV Demons. There's a few Lester ones. There's a few games, well, Dreamscape, I always, these comics, I always envisioned as 3D platformers before I started making the comics. Then there's Barbot, which leads into the Freaks video games. So that's just, like, probably around 20 games right there, that whole series. Yeah, I got way too much stuff planned. All the time, every day. But after this, all I gotta do is focus on getting a job, primarily. Probably some grocery store thing. Yeah, I want to be able to survive to see the day that I actually get to do that stuff. Assuming I do. I never have faith that I'll, like, accomplish anything. I always think the worst, like, I always think my stuff is going to be hated, and that all my stuff is horrible, and that I won't succeed at anything. But I always keep working towards it regardless, because no matter what, I am going to create. That is my purpose. What matters is that it gets made. Yeah, that is life goals. Just create, just do what you feel you have to, regardless of how you think others will receive it. Now, what matters at the end of the day is that you are doing what you feel you should be doing. Above all else, what you feel you should be doing is the important part of what you do. Everything else is just kind of noise alongside it. Yeah, I really cannot think much today. My brain is just not operating enough. Hopefully I've been able to eat enough to, like, fuel my brain. It's hard to tell. I don't really have the stuff to spend on food normally. Long as I can work, though. The stories are in my head, like, from over the years, they've just ingrained themselves in my mentality that even if I can't think as well some days, I do know the stories enough to be able to get them down on paper. I've thought about doing digital comics before, but digital comics is always so hard to do compared to, like, physical ones for me. Because, like, making all the panel lines and everything is just very, very hard to do when it comes to the digital side for me. Never have understood that, no matter how many times I've tried. There's a lot of things that are probably very simple that I make more complex than they should be, because I'm not, like, understanding how people do the digital side of things. Much more of a physical guy when it comes to art, but at the same time when I do digital art, it makes it look a lot cleaner when compared to the physical aspects. I am going to eat a banana. Now back to work. Yeah, right now, the main thing is just, like, trying to debate about how to spend things, because kind of run out of money to get groceries with. Mostly relying on Pop-Tarts and things that are, like, months old, that are in boxes in the cupboard and everything. But I've been through worse. Not sure what the worst I would have been through is. But it's gotten pretty caveman type survival at times over the years with me. Gotta do what you can to survive. Let's see here. Yeah, it didn't show its arms over there, so I'm just gonna make these black arms to show that there are arms there. Alright, you kinda got Claw's pants. Yeah, here you can kinda see that there's like a different pressure for the inking there along the border of the panel line and the Claw's black pants. Stuff that shows up more the more you mess with the image. When it's raised like this, you can still tell, but it's harder to tell, I think. We're trying to get things look as consistent as possible with the blacks during all the digital editing process of this. Now I am stretching and Doko looks very much to be in pain there. Ouch. And I am going to go get some more things to eat while I work, so I will be right back. And I am right back. I have some authentic estilo mexicano chips. Totopos de mayas. I have no idea what that means, but they're chips. And they're very salty. Thankfully, I have a bottle of water here to help quench or help provide me with more liquid. And I have Doko here looking very agonized. Gets an elbow in his back for trying to throw himself at the claw again. This time, now without the use of an arm for him, for Doko. Now, Doko is kinda ruining his body here. But he is not one that gives up. He is the hero. Yeah, heroes, the more effective, like, more, I guess, looked up to ones will a lot of times risk, like, everything they can to achieve their goal. Doko is certainly one of the types that will give it his absolute all to win over the opponent. And it's not always the best thing for him health-wise to do, but it is part of his character. Usually his character is very fun-loving and just a complete moron that just likes to have fun, but he does do things to help others and to just accomplish his goals and stuff, which are usually very simple goals. But up against certain opponents, that is not always the mentality you want to have if you value self-preservation at all. Putting a banana slice on one of those chips helps to even out the saltiness of the chips. They are very salty. Probably will not be getting the chips again, but they were on sale. With how things are financially, it is definitely what I was willing to pay for them. We should find some other music. Let's see here. Nope. Nope. Here we go. Here's something. Good old Tao Hao. Alright, let's see. Raise this. Raise that. Whoa, okay, that's a bit too loud. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Now back to Doko. Getting beat the hell up. And Doko is a bit of a tough guy to take down, but it can be done. The thing with this tournament is it allows for a lot more opportunity to see what this world has to offer combat-wise. It's not at all a tournament series, but it is one that has tournaments in it, in the world they live in. It is nice to break things up a bit with different types of stories throughout a series. This is a series that is not like just one thing. You'll get all sorts of different types of adventures throughout it. Superheroes, little character pieces, samurai-esque adventures, going to theme parks, all sorts of different crazy stuff. It's always good to have a variety. Some people may see as filler, depending on what they do and do not like for the different stories that are told. But the word filler just gets used so frequently now that it's pretty much lost all meaning. All it meant originally, I'm pretty sure, was just stuff that is not in the source material, that is put into an adaptation of it to pad for time while they make stuff that is actually from the source material. Namely, manga into anime. But nowadays, people pretty much just use it to talk about things they don't like in a series, which is completely wrong in my eyes for how the term should be used. Yeah, because if you have things that are like, if you have the first version of an adventure that you're seeing, like, just a new cartoon that has stuff and, like, there is no previous incarnation of it, from how I see it, there cannot be filler in that, because that is the source material. Filler only applies to, like, adaptations from how I've always viewed it. Guess for Resident Evil, the games, probably consider the stuff with, like, the orphanage in Resident Evil 2's remake as filler. That isn't at all from the source material, and pretty much just feels like a detour before you get back on track for what was in the original game. More chips. More chips. Yeah, people pretty much just use whatever words they want to describe things a lot of times now. I've had people call me a Luddite before for liking certain types of gameplays that are not as prevalent now in games, which is the completely wrong use of that word. But that is what happens when you have people talking with just finding ways to try and insult somebody. Down, down, bum, 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 down, 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 down. Yeah, there's a lot of word throwing around in the modern social media side of things. Guess the most social media I ever do is like Discord and Twitter, which is where I like interact with people on the internet the most. I have a Facebook, but that's not like an edward18 thing, that's just for me and like personal life type of people that I know type of stuff. I've always tried to keep, like, my internet life and real life separated, so people in real life do not, have as much of a chance to see what I am like on the internet. There's, stuff that I would probably be a bit embarrassed about them seeing. I'm always embarrassed by people that see stuff that I have done if I know them in real life. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but if they're like saying, "Oh, I saw your video," I'll just sort of inwardly cringe and hope that they do not talk about it. In real life, I hardly talk. It's, at least when compared to on the internet. But on YouTube, I say all sorts of stuff, and get to show my true self, I guess you could say. Yeah, cause like this, where I'm humming along to music and stuff, like making sounds to it, I would not do that in real life around people, like, physically. That would just be embarrassing to do. But here, with nobody around and just people on the internet looking that cannot, like, interact with me physically, it's absolutely a-okay. Because it's kinda just normal hangout type of area with no eyes on me. There are eyes, it's just digital ones. Yeah, cause like all the Let's Plays and stuff that I do, I have never been able to do that with people around that I know are listening. I've never had the comfort of being able to do that. If I do it with people around, it's very, very, more quiet and less what I actually think, so they don't hear me. But here, it's Edward18. Hello, everybody! How are you all doing today? Yeah, that is not something I have ever done in the presence of anybody, like, standing in the same, house or anything as me. There are times where I've tried to figure out ways to make little, chambers that will keep noise from going through them for me to, like, act in. But I've never been able to find one that's, like, 100% effective. I know there are those, but they cost a bit to make. Bum 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 dum ba dum bum bum. Dum bum 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 bum. Birthday, birthday, birthday. Got so much to do in these last couple of days. Well, I do believe the birthday is going to go alright. Not sure about the internet side of things, but in real life, the birthday, I at least plan to go try to get something to eat with, like, birthday money and stuff. Ding ding down 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 boom 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 boom. I'd prefer to get sushi, because I always love sushi. I like most, not most, I like a lot of Asian dishes. And I always love getting salmon roll, tuna roll, unagi. I love that stuff. Tempura fried shrimp roll is the best, but it always costs more because it's tempura fried shrimp. Ah, Doko, you just got all sorts of lines on you to work around in this one. I suppose me liking sushi is where Doko gets liking sushi from. Him and Stacy just love sushi. Man, I always add in, like, kanji lettering in the backgrounds on buildings and objects and stuff to give more of an Asian flair to it. Well, no matter how the commentary is, all of this material can eventually be used to show in DVD extras how the comics are put together. And just heighten the speed to like 4 times speed and watch the page get made in like a minute. I think I've listened to this track enough, so I'm probably going to switch it. Cooking the perfect burger with Gordon Ramsay.
Beautiful colour on that burger patty. Get that pan nice and warm. In we go. Again, season it.
Okay, I know how to make burger, dude. Okay, I'm well aware. Down. just to know the answer. Never get away. To know, have to know the answer. Yeah, say what you will about Mega Man X6 and its gameplay and story and pretty much every factor, but the music is one thing you cannot deny is a great time. Yeah, it is a shame that Capcom just insisted on doing another X game. Not that X5 was the greatest Mega Man game, but it at least was a conclusive ending to things. Capcom had to be Capcom. Just continue on with trying to bleed the well dry of money, as is the way of their people. Just to know the answer. And then it sucks when, like, in the newer collections of Mega Man, how they take out a lot of the songs and stuff. I know there's all the copyright issues and stuff that go on over time when it comes to music, but it always sucks. Because it's like, Metal Gear, it would have, without the main theme of the series, it just doesn't feel right. Like, Solid 4 onwards, music-wise. What you say? Trying to remember, I think it's the guy that is Mega Man X's voice actor that sings this, if I remember right. I'll never go down. Just to know the answer. Never get away. To know, have to know the answer. Yeah, it's this kind of music that I sometimes play in my head while thinking of music videos for, like, the comic series, Doko and his friends. I come up with all sorts of music videos in my head for the stuff that I work on. There's some days where I can't stop thinking about this stuff, and any song that comes on will get turned into a music video for it. Just to know the answer. You'll never get away. To know, have to know the answer. Mega Man would be great to have, like, an anime franchise of, for, like, just the entirety of the timeline. Like, have a series for Mega Man, and then a sequel series for X, and then a sequel series of that for Zero, and then one for ZX, and one for Legends. And have it all actually line up with how the games do it. Don't, like, make stuff up later on, like Archie or something would eventually do. Let's switch to another thing.
My name.
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, so that's all I needed to do to get the chat box working. Yeah, everything was like crammed together in chat on the side here. And all I had to do to get like all fixed back up was expand the window and let the words and symbols have space to breathe. That would not have helped at all for the issues we were having on the Resident Evil 2 Let's Play, but it did help to sort things out here with, over on my end, I couldn't really see things that well with how squished together everything was in the chat box. And as we experienced in former videos, this song apparently is a-okay to use for streaming. I'll just get rid of that. Now my hands are all sticky because of those chips. Doko is just being smashed right into the ground here. More blood just flying out of him. Actually, a lot of this in the background is blood from what came out of his arm in the previous pages. But this being knocked around is obviously going to be shooting some more blood out of that wound, as well as wherever he gets hit. Like, currently, having your teeth and nose mashed into the ground like that is not a good thing in terms of keeping everything in your body. Okay, blacken that. The speed lines are actually not interfering as much as I thought they would on Doko here. Oh wow, and that song's already done. Let's see here. No idea how this'll go, but oh well, let's try this one out. Okay. I think that's going. And there's an ad for that new Mario game, Mario Wonder. I keep wanting to call it Mario Super because of Sonic's Sega Superstar whatever that's called. Yeah, this is a track that I always used to listen to when working on, like, fanfics and stuff, because it didn't have any words to, like, interfere with my thought process. And it's just a nice tune in general to listen to. Very relaxing. Very good for making art and stories, too. It is Night Mist by Adrian something. I can't remember the name. I could look, but that would require me to stop working so I could flip over to the other window. And I've already got too much to do right now, so just gonna keep working. Yeah, you can really feel the impact with this image with like all the stuttered lines around the arms and back and everything. The vibrations coming off of Doko as he impacts. I doubt many people that would be on these streams would know, like, have first-hand experience of this kind of a fight. I've had the experience of my arm getting kinda cut open. Didn't go to the hospital, but I should have probably gotten stitches. But I don't ever have money, so I was not going to do that. Yeah, good ol' America and their wonderful, wonderful healthcare. That being said, I eventually died, so we mourn the passing of Edward-17, but Edward-18 is here all fixed up. I just realized, I think I made... Oh no, this is... I thought that this was an error I was making this little bit over here. But no, it's just a part I hadn't filled in yet. Guess if nothing else, this'll give this music track a test run for if I can use it on streams without the videos getting blocked. And if it does, this part does get blocked / chopped out, no one will know about it, so they won't even know that I did this. There will be no interruption for the video that is put out of it. But, if it doesn't get blocked or have this part chopped out, I guess this is a music track all of you can use as well in whatever you decide to play or make videos with. I do love that I have the ability now to just fill in the blacks like that and have it properly fill in. So I'm curious. 170.5? Okay, no, I thought that would happen. Okay. Experiment done. Going back to 170.0 for the threshold. There we go. Oh, and Daniel, if you end up arriving or are watching at all, Jacob Wiggles says hi. And we just got the claw here just glaring up at Doko. Edward is hungry, but Edward don't have food. probably go out to try and get more groceries after my birthday. Until my birthday, though, I need to be working. There's commissions to do, there's birthday picture to try and do, stuff to get ready for if my brother visits. All sorts of stuff to do. Very Irish sounding music here. Celtic. Celtic magic. I do love Samurai Jack. It was always funny to me how, like, you don't know really the names of any of the characters in Samurai Jack. It's just the Scotsman and the Emperor and Jack, which is a nickname. You never get to find out what Jack's name actually is. Pretty much the only one you do have an actual name for is the villain, Aku. Even a lot of the bounty hunters are just kind of bounty hunters. Did see people, did see someone the other day that was talking about, like, Teen Titans and stuff, talking about how it was, like, how it's a serious show compared to, like, well, just a serious show since they grew up with Teen Titans Go. That was just weird to me, because to me, Teen Titans is not a serious show. It has serious moments, but it is kind of a comedy show as well. Feels like there is a bit of a gap between what is and isn't considered, like, comedy and drama and stuff between eras. Everything has differing elements of it, but a lot of what I would consider comedy stuff feels like would be considered quote-unquote serious stuff in the modern age. It just feels odd to me. That there's obviously shows that will always be just comedy, like straight-up comedy. Like, I doubt anyone's ever gonna go to Ed, Edd and Eddy for the super serious, serial-driven plot or anything. They were building up to something with that, Jimmy being taught by Eddie saga, but once it gets into the Eddie's brother saga, that's when it really gets good. Yeah, that was a show that didn't really have a quote-unquote villain to it. The most you really had was Kevin. And that was just him mostly being a jerk. But the Eds themselves kinda deserve some of the stuff they get. Primarily Eddie. But Yeah, up until, like, the movie, there is, like, no antagonist to it. And even then, it's hard to call Eddie's brother an antagonist, even if he is bad. Because he kind of just shows up in the last 5 minutes of the entire series. But he is very nicely built up throughout the show. There was definitely suspicions I had about him watching the show as it came out with what Eddie described about him, and how some of the characters reacted to hearing about him. Like, if I remember right, Rolf was, like, terrified hearing about Eddie's brother coming back. Yeah, there were signs throughout the show that Eddie's brother wasn't exactly the great, amazing guy that Eddie seemed to think that he was. Taught me everything I know, says the guy that is always trying to scam everybody. Guess another of the greater scope villains, which is like not really villains to the series, would be like the tallest in Invader Zim. Like, they're obviously evil and are things that need to be stopped, but in terms of what's going on in the show, they're pretty much not involved at all in it. They just show up from time to time because the main character adores them. But they're finally at least dealt with in the movie. Yeah, the whole Irken thing would have eventually had to be dealt with in the show, or in whatever came afterwards. Invader Zim feels like something that had... like, it obviously had a plot that it was building as it went along, but that kinda did not have the opportunity to become anything with its cancellation. We do finally get some conclusion, though, with the movie. Enter the Florpus. But it's obvious that a lot of what was being worked towards never will end up getting to be, like, the continuation of the series. You'll never get to see Tak come back, you'll never follow up on the Resisti. But for how the show went, and how Nickelodeon was always interfering with it, it's a wonder to even have Enter the Florpus to begin with. I will happily take it. Yeah, if you didn't know what there was planned for Invader Zim, if you just watch the show and Enter the Florpus, it does pretty much act like, yeah, that is sort of the continuation / ending of the series. And there'd be, like, nothing that you would really question. But with all the stuff that's gone on with the production of that franchise over the decades now, it is just it's kinda bittersweet. You gotta more, closure to things, but at the same time, there's so much that could have been. Yeah, at least there's the comics, though. Which I believe they're still going. If I remember right, Oni Press is the ones that do the Invader Zim comics. Oh, right, we still need to do his hair up here. Doko Rapiljo. Not sure why. Well, I know why the old sage might have named him Doko Rapilzo, but in the older days, I don't know if I had any thought process as to why the old sage would have called him Doko Rapilzo. It sounds like the old sage just did not know how to make a name and just threw sounds together. A man of many talents, one of which is not name creation. There is another character that's like, there's Dokoyo Dochi, which has like Doko as part of his name. Dokoyo, D-O-K-O-Y-O, and then Dochi, D-O-C-H-I. And that is a character that the old sage knows of. That was, the demon spirit of soccer, which terrorized, Japan in the, I think, late 1500s, early 1600s, if I remember right. It's like during the era of the samurai and everything. There was like sort of a Super Sentai group that went up against him in that time period to stop him. He was, he is implied to have taken part in the death of, who was he? I'm trying to remember. Oda Nobunaga. Yes. The vicious samurai overlord. It is, implied, or I don't know if it's ever implied, but it's part of the backstory of Dokoyo Dochi, that he took part in killing Oda Nobunaga. And that is, that goes sort of in hand with the viciousness of the time period. But at the same time, it's like, it's the demon spirit of soccer. So it's got an inherent funniness to the whole situation to begin with. Yeah, the old sage was born in the 1600s. I believe in the 1680s, if I remember right. These comics take place in either the 2300s, I think it's the 2300s. So the old sage has been alive for like probably around 600 years by the time the comics take place. Yeah, it's he has seen quite a bit of stuff in his time. Let's get the 3 strands of hair down here. Oh. Nope. Knew it was gonna do that. Why are you doing that? There we go. There must have just been a little tiny gap that the black was seeping through there. We've been listening to this for quite some time. Let's switch on over to another calming one. Or do a Chipotle ad.
It's almost like a farmer's market. When you walk into the restaurant, you should hear the
Chipotle is not like a farmer's market. You are lying.
You're such a good listener, Thomas. It makes me feel so special.
You are special. If you don't mind, if you could just...
This makes me feel
I
very
mind,
special.
Thomas. Let's get to music, shall we? Ba-da-ba-boom, ba-dum. Okay, there we go. Back on with the ambiance. Alright, everything back on track, and here we get back to the comic. I believe we only have 1 panel left to go here. Making quite a bit better time than I thought, which will serve us well, or serve me well, for the rest of the schedule for the day. Got so much stuff to do in these last couple of days before the birthday. So yeah, that was the little history lesson on one of the various entities throughout the history of my stuff. Dokoyo Dochi, the demon spirit of soccer, who is not anywhere close to appearing in the comics, but he may show up at some point. Right now, he's like sealed away in like sort of a slumber, a dormant state. He's still, like, where he was originally trapped is still out there in the world, but the characters don't know about him. At least these characters don't. Obviously, the old sage knows about Dokoyo Dochi. Sake Monolical also knows about him. I don't know if they know that he, like, is still active, but they know about him. Or he's not active, but, like, that he's, like, trapped and can't do anything. One of the worst fates for a villain, I've always felt, is what happens to Porky in Mother 3. Being trapped forever, all of eternity, unable to do anything. It's just a horrifying thought. but it is necessary for the type of character he is. Someone that would probably, well, would no doubt put Hitler to shame. There's a lot of video game, or just a lot of villains in fiction that are like leagues and leagues more evil than anybody in real life has ever been. And they usually get a pass, like, on the appealing side of things, just due to them simply being fictional characters. It's like, a lot of the cool villains would be just absolutely feared beyond belief in real life. Like, all the terrorists out there would just bow their hats to them and step out of the way, out of fear of being killed themselves. It's one thing that always was very weird to me in, like, the September 11th issue of, like, the Marvel stuff, where it has, like, the scene of all the villains and everything mourning the crash of the towers and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's tragic, but some of these guys, I don't really expect sympathy from them, because a lot of the villains in comics, if they accomplish their goals, they wouldn't even, like, the stuff they would do goes so far beyond what happened on something like September 11th. It's just kind of ridiculous to have those types of characters reacting with sympathy as much as they do in that comic. I know it's all about the feeling of the time period, though. Yeah, for my comic villains, like, with Emperor Illuminator in the comics here, he would just be happy to be destroying, like, cities and stuff and imposing his, like, rule upon everyone. He's a character that, like, will not go out of his way to murder somebody, but if people don't follow his orders, he is more than willing to just toss them to the side and go, yeah, well, if you don't obey me, then you can die. That's fine. That type of thing. It's what I feel to be a pretty logical way to act for his type of character. Yeah, there's something to be said for villains that are, like, so full of themselves they really don't care in the end what happens to people as long as their will is being done. It's kinda how I view Eggman. He's someone I could see as being a fun ruler, but he certainly is someone that I could also see just sacrificing others to accomplish his goals without even, like, thinking about it. Like, okay, well, go throw yourself at Sonic, then. That type of inconsideration. Of course, then you have to get into the different versions of Eggman, but most of them usually feel like they would just casually have someone murdered out of their convenience if they needed to. We are really finishing up this comic page quicker than I thought we would. Not quick enough to do something else this stream, but because I got a lot of other things to do today. But it is going quicker than I thought. Only at 2 hours in. When it comes to villainy, America always feels like it's, well, for quite a few decades, has been pretty dumbed down in how they do villains in younger audiences' things. And then in older audiences' stuff, a lot of times they just make them, like, overly, like, violent and stuff to the point of unlikability. Which kind of defeats the point of doing a character. Yeah, you gotta go back to, like the serials and Johnny Quest and stuff to get villains acting more like likable characters that have the proper villain tendencies. Like, you always want to see what Dr. Zinn is like in Johnny Quest because of how he is and his character and all that, that you don't want to be in his presence with what he will have done to you. I guess Megatron and Beast Wars kinda nails it on the head pretty good. He will very willingly just have his own troops get themselves killed. He was always one that, like, he carried the Megatron name, but he was not Megatron. He was just using the name. And he was always way more dangerous feeling than the original Megatron was. He was essentially just a terrorist that even went against his own faction just so that he would come out on top. Which does end up working out for him for a while. Until Optimus Primal comes back into the picture after they get back to Cybertron. But by that point, that Megatron is pretty much practically won. Yeah, Beast Machines isn't the best, but that finale is pretty damn awesome. Just having Optimus Primal and Megatron battling around Cybertron with no one else in their way. It's a pretty epic ending. Oh, we got some hair flying. Oh no, that's not a strand of hair, that's the back of his head. It's just the other parts of the back of his head are obscured by these speed lines. I thought it was like one of these strands that was like flapping back. Yeah, my birthday, I'm going to be on the Discord at some point. So I guess if anyone wants to hang out there that day, that is your little heads up. October 25th. Maybe we'll play some games, who knows? There might be a Gartic phone, there might be a Cards Against Humanity. There might be nothing, depending on who all is there. Either way, I do have other things I am doing that day. Hopefully I'm still debating on what I will do for the birthday dinner or birthday lunch. Yeah, the claw here, he's just still dodging. No matter what, Doko is just not giving in. Thankfully, I say as I begin to yawn, I have woken up a bit during this. My folly for attempting to do a stream while I'm still tired and waking up, but I do have to get it done. And it does help to, like, have this on the internet and stuff while I'm working. In case anyone stops by or anything. If anyone wants to see a younger animator slash storyboarder, feel free to check out, I believe their name is Mango Cat? Let me see here. Yeah, the internet's taking a bit to load things up. What? No, not that. Come on, there you go. Okay, it's Mango Catastrophe. Oh, and she changed her banner. Yeah, the, this here. Dish character. There's someone that does all sorts of little animatics and stuff, and they've been doing it for a while now. Yeah, looks like they just changed their banner here. I think they came up with that 2 days ago? Yeah, that is someone to check out for those that enjoy the animation side of YouTube. And let's continue on here. I assume we'll be getting this finished up within the in the next half hour. So our little session here is probably coming to its end, but it's been fun. I do hope that the commentary has been engaging enough for the audience. Yeah, ba ba ba. So stretchy, so tired. So work, 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 work. Got work to do. Work every day, all the time. I keep seeing the amazing digital circus around, and I keep meaning to give it a look at some point alongside Murder Drones, but I just have never gotten the chance to, because I'm always busy. From what I saw, Gooseworks worked on the amazing digital circus, which if no one knows who that is a someone that's been a YouTube animator for quite some years now. I believe they've worked with VivziePop in the past, like even before VivziePop did Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss and stuff. Yeah. My favorite thing from them was Runmo. It was sort of a little parody of side-scrolling video games. Well, looks like all we have left to do now is the claw here. That shouldn't take too long. He's a lot more simple to fill in than Doko. Yeah, the next 10 or 11 pages, this fight should be coming to its end, finally. It's been like an entire comic, almost, this entire fight. I really could have, like, split the comic in two, but I always planned for the final matches to be one comic, so, yeah. I stuck with that. If I had any sense, I would have split this into 2 issues, but it's just one gigantic comic issue. The longest comic I have ever made. So far. There's always room for more. Before this, it would have been Battle on Gorgok Mountain, but we have gone, I think, above and beyond that page count by this point. Certainly will be above and beyond it by the end of this comic. Bayaro. Buhbye. Just gotta go around the buttons here. Keep thinking of maybe switching the music for like one last track, but I don't think there's really time to appreciate any more tunes, because we're pretty much at the ending here. Then this page will go up probably in a few hours after this, after I've made some minor adjustments to things in the editing process that takes place after the streams are over. I still have things to work on once the streams are done every time. Getting like the bottom page number lined up with where it needs to be, zooming in and seeing if there's like little lines and stuff to fill in. Thankfully, with Tractors and Tedder's assistance in the filling in method, seems to eliminate having to do that as much. Saves a ton on the production process time here. Thank you, Tractors and Tedders. Or Milo. I do wonder sometimes how things will be viewed by people in the years to come when it comes to videos and the whole Edward18 legacy and all that. I at least know that there are people that have enjoyed the stuff I've made. And there's also people that tell me to kill myself, but that's just kind of standard internet stuff. Yeah, you eventually go numb to that type of thing. It's just like, okay, yeah, I know. I know. I'll get to that eventually, buddy. And you just end up blocking things out after a while. You're like me, you just block out everything that's like a distraction to the craft. Quite a few speed lines here. And there's speed lines of Doko trying to attack, and then speed lines of the claw zipping back around from where Doko is attacking. Get this shaved up a bit. Get this filled in a bit. And I think we should be good. I think that's all there is. So let's zoom out and see. Yeah, that's it. That is the page. So we got Doko up here after the claw has told him that he should drop out. He's just continuing on, blood from his arm that he can no longer use, and the claw dodges out of the way and just slams his elbow into Doko's back, slamming him into the ground. Doko gets right back up, still bleeding and everything. He's like, I will not give up. And tries to attack again, only to have the claw dodge again. And I now realize there's spots down here that I did not fill in. So we will fill this in real quick. And we will... oh, doing it on the wrong one. Here we go. Okay, we got his knee. There we go. Then fill that in, and fill... You're not wanting to do that, so I will fill it in manually. And, I think that's good. Oh yeah, I think that's the page. If anyone has, stuck around for the whole video, I do apologize for how yawny and sleepy everything had been earlier on. But I do hope whoever was here enjoyed what they saw, or had some insight into the comic. For now, though, I think this is the end of this page. Well, for what the audience is gonna see, obviously I'm going to do a tiny bit more touching up before I put it up. But thank you for joining me, and I guess I will either see you in the Discord for the birthday, or if I stream here on my birthday. But otherwise, yeah, I will be seeing you all later. I hope you all have a good October 22nd, and this is Edward18 signing out. Bye-bye!